Hello, for Insider Advantage Internet News Agency and the Southern Political Report, I'm Aileen Page, and joining me today is our own Gary Reese. Matt Towery unfortunately had a death in the family, so he'll be joining us later, and of course throughout the whole process of the Florida primary, which is the most exciting news, and we have brand new polling numbers for you. McCain we have at 28.3%. In a virtual dead heat with Mitt Romney at this point. It's so unbelievably close. Romney is at 27.4%, Giuliani at 16.2%, and Huckabee at 13%, and of course the rest of them are trailing. Gary, what do you think of these numbers?
Well, it's absolutely astounding. We've been polling it every night for about a week. I think the thing that amazes me most, rather than just the obvious that it's anybody's call within the margin of error, is that so few votes are moving one way or the other. I mean, the lower percentages, Giuliani, Huckabee, things like that, those people have made up their mind either for or against them, and they're not moving. So the significance of that is it's very hard, no matter how much TV you run, no matter how much campaigning you do, there's not a whole lot of undecided. It says 8% undecided, but when you get this close, usually those undecideds aren't going to come out to vote. So the vote grabbing is down to by the hundreds and few thousands right now, and it's really, really close.
Well, let's talk about the other big news, which of course is Republican Governor Charlie Crist's endorsement of John McCain, which occurred on Saturday. Now, what do you think, Gary, first about the 11th hour nature of this endorsement, and tell us what effect you think this is going to have on the race?
Well, I think the 11th hour is very much Charlie Crist. He's a he very much goes by the gut. He's a very intuitive kind of guy. He's catching a lot of flack. If you'll recall Saturday, I gave him unsolicited advice not to endorse anybody. A lot of people have said that. I think there's some squawk coming from what I call the Jeb Bush side of the Florida Republican Party. Jeb Bush has been very quiet. He's made one very ambiguous comment about a very gentlemanly comment, but the former House Speaker Alan Benz, considered to be sort of from the Jeb Bush camp, has come out and basically said there's a backlash in the conservative panhandle of people who've called up after the Crist endorsement saying, we want to support Romney. Now,
really?
I don't know how much to put into that, but obviously there's a lot of turmoil in the party right now. Governor Crist, if McCain does not win the Florida primary, if he doesn't win the nomination, if he doesn't win the White House, or even if he does, he's going to catch flack and be very unpopular with the Republican establishment down the road. But you know what? They're going to need him this fall regardless of who the Republican nominee is. So for right now, Charlie Crist is in the driver's seat. I think he's got some vice presidential ambitions. He went with his gut, and here we have it.
And so do you think that he definitely is putting himself out on a limb to some extent, but he obviously is a very popular governor, very influential, so regardless of which way it happens, you think he's still in a good position?
I think so. Endorsements, I think endorsements generally are overrated. People don't follow those like they used to, but the drama of it at the last moment, so to speak, and with a race it's a toss-up, and he's a governor with a 60 percentile approval ratings, it has some effect. We saw the polls trending for Romney, if slightly. Now it's trending back a little bit for McCain. We're not going to be able to tell until tomorrow, when people have already started voting on Election Day, where this is going to come up, and we'll make a call at that time.
Now, a record turnout is being projected for Florida, as was the case recently, of course, in the South Carolina Democratic primary. What do you think accounts for this turnout? Is it the closeness of the race?
Well, it's the Democratic side, too, where they're not even officially campaigning because the candidates were disallowed from campaigning in Florida for a long story. But I think it just shows the restlessness of the electorate in general. People are afraid of the future. They're tired of things. The fact that Democrats are turning out to vote when they're in the primary down there's not even going to seat delegates at the national convention tells you that people are mad and uncertain, and they want to hear their voice heard. I think that bodes poorly for the Republicans in November. We'll see. But usually when that many people turning out, they're saying we've had it with the status quo, and the status quo in Florida and in America has been Republican.
What are your thoughts on what's going to happen on the Democratic side in Florida, even though, as you said, the delegates don't count at this point?
I think Hillary Clinton will win. We saw Obama surge a little bit after Iowa when he got all the media attention. But when you can't campaign in Florida, whoever's ahead is going to stay ahead. Obama's best shot was a low turnout. If the Democrats had not turned out because it didn't count, but then blacks might have showed up in disproportionate numbers because of racialist pride in Obama, he might have had a shot, and who knows? I mean, he still may. But I think Hillary Clinton will win, and I think she desperately needs to win because nationally he is making another surge.
Yep. Well, of course, we have the Florida primary tomorrow. We'll be covering that both live and earlier on in the afternoon to give you some more fresh numbers. Just to run them by you one more time, we've got McCain at 28.3%. We've got Romney at 27.4%. So it is a very tight race, and that's the professional assessment of it.